Bandhurapathe Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tata Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudari Pranamami Hripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthana Vishnu Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Gauravani Pacheni Shri Pashti Vishnu Так повишено ночью вам посуктам живояки киршати дан саданам шахасам саданам саданам шаванам чамадим паманам бхагавате пурушая пуприм фантастина ватаянички нашим всем живым. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So prasad is already arrived. Krishna is coming. You know, it's like Vaishnavas are joking that there is a mantra for sleeping and a mantra for awakening. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is mantra for sleeping. And I saw some of you they fall into sleep immediately. And mantra for awakening is Mahaprasad. Okay, Lord Shiva in our Vaishnava culture, what's the role? Is it worth worshiping him, or should we worship or not? So many questions, so many dilemmas, and so let us discuss a little bit. And by the way, Shiva Tattva is considered to be very extremely profound and extremely complex tattva. It is considered to be one of the three tattvas which we never understand fully. Yeah? You know two more?
Shiva Tattva?
Shiva Tattva is very complex.
Jiva Tattva?
Jiva Tattva is okay, you can understand. But maybe at the present moment you don't understand fully, also in ISKCON. Somehow or other we're struggling also. Yeah, if you go to Brahma Samhita and read 545 verse, which is explained the Shiva Tattva, Bhaktivinoda he gives a very kind of high type of language explanation of that, so that's kind of mind-blowing. Anyway, so we're not going for Shiva Tattva today. We probably discuss Lila Vichara, a little bit about pastimes, and we just compare Lord Shiva and bringing up some different statements from the Shastras and from the great personalities, from Acharyas, what they're saying about him. Is it okay? Would be interested to listen? Yeah, and first of all, Srimad Bhagavatam saying that Shiva Shakti Yugak Shashva Trilingo Gunach Sambrita in 88th chapter and 10th canto, Shukadeva Goswami said, Lord Shiva is always united with his personal energy, the material nature, manifesting himself in three features in response to the entities of nature's three modes. He thus embodied the threefold principles of material ego in goodness, passion, and ignorance. Quite bewildering. Anyway, so we will give evidence from the Acharyas, and of course we will not support demigods worship, which are prominent in the Hindu tradition. Krishna condemned it in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He said, Kamaista istar kritagyanam prapadyantenya devatam. So some of the people, they're bewildered, they have Hrita Jnana, small, little knowledge, and also Kama, a lot of material desires. So they surrender, but not to Krishna, but to demigods. So there's wrong surrender. And also, as I saw yesterday in the Hindu temple, so everything in one level, everything is one, ultimately. Om, therefore it's Mayavada. And Lord Chaitanya, he said to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he said, Mayavada Bhashya Shunile Hana Sarvanasha. So if you accept Mayavada, you spoil everything. So Mayavada is you finish everything. Yeah, let's see what our main scriptures are saying about Lord Shiva. So we have three main granthas. We have Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? So we can look at them. And if you have any questions along the way, you're welcome, you ask.
What's Mayavada, Prabhu? Thanks.
Mayavada. Maya, Vada, two words. Vada means teaching, Maya means that which is not exist actually. So direct meaning of Mayavada. So Mayavada is teaching about illusory existence of this material world. And the main statement of Mayavada philosophy is saying that Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Brahman is ultimate and eternal and ever existent, but this material world is Mithya. Mithya means illusion. It doesn't exist. Would you say that it doesn't exist? Does it exist?
Feels like it does.
Really? If you fall down and just hit your nose against what is called asphalt, it really exists. So you can't neglect this fact. But some of the people, they're just twisting things and saying it doesn't exist. You see, it's illusory representation of Brahman. And there's so many theories, but there are three main, and it's a big discussion anyway. So we don't support these theories, and Mayavadis are considered to be our direct opponents. So Prabhupada always, it's like our mission to defeat Mayavada philosophy. Yeah, that's called Purva Paksha, or our opposite camp. So we have to fight. This is that's why Prabhupada, that's one of his aspects of his mission. He came to Western world to deliver us from the Nirvishesha Shunyavada, meaning that philosophy of voidism, emptiness, and impersonalism. And all those philosophies, they originated from from Buddhism. Originally, it is Buddhism, and in America, it's very prominent as far as I noticed. Buddhism is very good. They think it's like, but this is original atheism. Anyway, so Krishna can do anything. So he came in the form of Buddha, and he bewildered atheists and materialistic brahmanas, giving them this is false theory, and he neglected Vedas. He rejected Vedic knowledge. Therefore, we not worship to Buddha because he neglected Vedic literature. But we accept Vedas as our supreme authority. It's called Shabda Brahman, Shastra Brahman. So our main evidence is the Shastra. And which Shastra is the topmost? Srimad Bhagavatam, right. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Malam, Puranam, Prema Kumarat Mohan. Sarva Vedanta Saranhi Srimad Bhagavatam Ishyate. Tatra Samrita Triptasyam Nanyartham Hiratim Kvachit. It is saying that if you read Bhagavatam, so you don't have, you're not going for any other scriptures because you'll get this taste, because it's saturated with rasa. Every and each word of Bhagavatam is saturated with rasa, with transcendental mellow. If you even don't understand Bhagavatam, you just read it and you feel it. Something happening, some taste coming. This is called Bhakti Rasa. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasa Malayam Mohurasika Bhuya Bhavukah. So you try next time, maybe today or tomorrow morning, you try and you will see. It comes by its own accord. you don't need to, to make any extra efforts. It's coming. But if you do with respect and in the mood of worship, that's kind. So, and Amala Purana, which is free from all kinds of misconceptions and false dharmas, it is saying that dharma prajita kaita votra parama nirma saranam satam. All different prajita kaitava means cheating religion. So Bhagavatam is free from all those. It's been kicked out, all those kind of false religions. Therefore, whatever Bhagavatam says, we accept as a supreme authority. And by the way, Lord Chaitanya himself, he confirmed it. Mahaprabhu yatradara tat paraha. So we accept it because Lord Chaitanya, he is our great authority on everything. And he established his teaching. Achintya Veda Vedatata. Therefore, he established one of the. By the way, I was speaking recently about 5 things which we have to love and input our love in these 5 things in our Siddhanta, Vaishnava Siddhanta. Would you like to know them?
Yes, yeah.
You see, it's like a broad and huge topic. Krishna consciousness is very diverse and profound and complex, right? So you can't catch up immediately essence of the teaching or Krishna conscious philosophy. But there are 5 main kind of subjects which are very important, and you can input your love in them, and you can grasp it in your palm, because there you have 5 fingers, right? You just turn down each finger, and I'll tell you all philosophy in 5 sentences. Is it okay? Would you like to know? Yeah, there are verse also given by one of our acharyas. He is a disciple of Vishwanath Chakravarti. His name is Srinath Chakravarti. And he wrote in his commentaries on Srimad Bhagavatam, which is called Chaitanya Manjusha. He wrote this beautiful poetry. He said, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajeshatana Istadhama Vrindavana. Ramya Kachitupasana Vraja Vardu Vardhena Yakalpita. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Malam. Prema Pumartha Mohan. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Tatradara Das Tatradana Paraha. Translation, please. Does anybody know? So it is saying that there are 5 main subjects which considered to be main points of our philosophy, in which we have to input our love. So first one is Aradhya Bhagavan. So we worship Bhagavan, right? Who is our Bhagavan? Krishna. Vrajeshatana is. Vrajeshatana is means son of King of Vraja, right? Our Bhagavan is Krishna in Vraj. Nanda Nandana, Vrajendra Nandana, not Devaki Nandana, not Vasudeva Nandana, not Asa Nandana, but he is a particular Krishna, those who in Vraj. So in our philosophy we have at least 3 Krishnas, right? Huh? Yes, so Dwarakadish, Madhuresh, and Vraj Krishna, right? That mentioned in Ujjvala Nilamani by Srila Rupa Goswami. Yeah, we have few Radharanis as well. So it's very complex, you see. So we have to input our love in Krishna, which is Krishna in Vraj, Vrindavan Krishna. Then we have to love his abode, his home, which is Vrajadam, Tadhama Vrindavana, which is worshipable, and it is on the same level like Krishna himself. So we have to give same respect. Then we have to love Krishna's devotees, those who are topmost devotees. And who are they? Is anybody knows? What are they? Huh?
Gopis.
Gopis, right. Gopi, Bhardu, Padakamlero, Dasu, Dasu. We follow to the footsteps. Gopi, Anugatya, Hina, Shriya, Shvaira, Yan. We follow in Anugatya. So, therefore, it is saying in this verse, what is saying? Ramya Kachitupasana Vraja Vardhu Vardhena. Vardhu, Vraja Vardhu. They are wives of cowherd men in Raja. They are topmost devotees. So we respect them and we follow them. Ramya Kachitupasana. Then, third aspect of our five fingers philosophy. Third is gopis. Then fourth is Bhagavatam, which is considered to be main evidence on truth, on absolute truth. So we accept Bhagavatam as spotless authority. Right? We don't argue. If Bhagavatam says so, we immediately accept. Otherwise, if you're gonna argue, you just look like idiot, like fool in cultural society. And the last point is Prema Pumartha Mohan. So our supreme aspiration is a love, which is love of Godhead, and this is considered to be Panchama Purushartha, or fifth Purushartha, fifth value of life, beside of Artha, Dhamma, Karma, Moksha. So this is Purushartha is it's like a living necessity or vital necessity for the soul. So soul cannot live without. If you're still alive, that means you love somebody or somebody love you, or you're hoping for love in the future to get this love. Otherwise, there is no sense to live. And so many people commit suicide. Why? Because there is no love, and they in the narrow world, they're just completely bewildered, and they're killing themselves. Yeah, because only essence for the soul is to live just to get love, somehow or other. This is food, this is breathing, this is shelter for the soul, this is everything. Like we have a shelter and breathing and drink and shelter for the body, in the same way we have everything for the soul. And this is love. It's called prema. Prema Pumartha Mohan, love of Godhead. Right? This is what is necessary. That's what is wanted, like Prabhupada is saying. So, and come back to our topic today. So, Lord Shiva, right? So, and Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be main grantha, main authority on everything. And what's saying? What is Srimad Bhagavatam saying about Lord Shiva? That is wonderful. Is anybody knows what Srimad Bhagavatam is saying about? So many things, so many mentions about Lord Shiva, and one of them is saying that. Yes, please tell. Yeah, there is a verse which is saying, Nam naganam yatha ganga devanam achyuto yatha vaishnavanam yatha shambhum purananam idam tatam. So main topmost Purana is Srimad Bhagavatam, Maha Bhagavata Purana. Best of all rivers is Ganges. Yeah? Then best of all the devatas, or not devatas, best of all worshipable gods is Achyuta, who is Krishna himself, and best among all Vaishnavas is Shambhu. Shambhu is Shiva. It is saying by Bhagavatam, and if you look at Bhagavatam, there are so many stories and so many mentions in Bhagavatam about Lord Shiva. Although it is Amala Purana, it speaks about Krishna, and every word is saturated with rasa. And main topic is Ashraya, means Krishna Lila, smiling face of Krishna, 10th canto, right? So you have to approach to this gradually, systematically. And there's so many evidences, so many different pastimes, and also which are describing Lord Shiva's pastimes. And first one is it's called Shiva Gita, mentioned in the 4th canto of Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam, there are 11 Gitas, actually. We know Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the Son of God. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 11 Gitas. Yeah. Is anybody knows any Gitas in Bhagavatam?
Gopi Gita.
Gopi Gita, right? Beautiful Gita. Huh? Uddhava Gita, right? 11th canto. Beautiful philosophy. And it is considered to be a continuation of Bhagavad Gita, actually. So Uddhava is the second disciple of Krishna after Arjuna, right? Then any other Gitas songs? Huh? Aila Gita, yes. You said no. Oh. Oh, yes. Aila Gita in, just remind us, 8th canto? 11. Oh, right, 11 canto. Right. What else? What other Gitas? Huh? Rudra Gita, yes, first one. We started with it in the 4th canto, right? Bhumi Gita, have you heard? Yeah, 12th canto. And then Yugala Gita, Venu Gita. What else? Brahmari Gita. Yeah? The Bumblebee Gita. Yeah, so many Gitas, and one of them, the first is in the sequence, is the Rudra Gita, right? Shiva Gita. Well, Lord Shiva, he offers prayers to the Supreme Lord in the form of Chaturvyuha. Chaturvyuha, the 4 quadruple expansion. Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, Sankarshan. And yeah, he glorified Lord very profusely, very beautifully, and he compiles a Gita. And further in the next canto, in the 5th canto, there is a beautiful description of his abode. Lord Shiva abode in Kailash, and also Lord Shiva, he lived in different places in this material universe, in this Brahmanda. For example, he also stays in Ilavrita-Varsha. Ilavrita-Varsha at the feet of Mountain Meru. So there is description of that and prayers of Lord Shiva as well. Then in the 6th canto there is a conversation or incident between Chitraketu and Lord Shiva. Right? You remember Lord Shiva gave a profound description and commentaries on that incident, and he explained some intricacies of Vaishnava's relationships, which are very sweet and beautiful. Then in the 8th canto there are mentioned about churning of the milk ocean, this pastime, Kshira Mantara Lila, where Lord Shiva, he drank entire ocean of poison. He saved entire universe. Yeah? And there is a beautiful verse. It is saying, Tapyante loka tapena sadhavo janaso priyaha paramararthanam tadhi purusham akilatmanaham. It is saying, great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. Yeah, and this is considered to be highest method of worship. So Lord Shiva is considered to be one of the greatest and compassionate Vaishnavas. He accepts suffering of others as his own, right? And this is considered to be the highest method of worship. Parama Rarthanam Tadhi. So Parama, supreme method of worship. So any other evidences from Bhagavatam? Anybody remember?
So Lord Shiva is like the first Christ. Before
Christ. Yeah, exactly. Why not? Appearance a little bit strange, but anyway. Okay, so in 10th canto there is Krishna Lila, where there are 90 chapters of Krishna Lila, about 40 chapters about Vraj Lila, then Mathura Lila and Baraka. And Lord Shiva, he mentioned many times, he even fight with Krishna, you know, at some point he fighting with Krishna, and people bewildered, what is the confusion? So, you know, like Lord Shiva just give a position to Krishna, he fights, but from another side, he is a Vaishnavana Vyadhashambhu, he is the greatest among the Vaishnavas. How is it possible? How we can reconcile it? He fights with Krishna, and then he teaches others to worship Krishna, you know, and he becomes a spiritual master of the entire universe. By the way, he is he is an acharya of one of the sampradayas, right? It's called Rudra Sampradaya. He established that sampradaya, and that sampradaya is a prominent of worship Krishna in small baby Krishna, in childhood, right? In the age of Pauganda. yeah, there is confusion about that, and those who don't understand this, they're still fighting. And there is in South India, there is a city which is called Kanchipuram, you know. It divides on the two parts, where there are Shiva Kanchi and Vishnu Kanchi. And they're still fighting. Who is the supreme? They're fighting all the time. But if you remember, Bhishmadev, he also fought against Krishna. He was throwing the arrows in the chest of Krishna, and Krishna accepted it as a petals which are thrown in a puja, you know, like he was doing puja to him. So it's difficult to understand. That's why it is saying Vaishnavara Kriya Mudra. So even great philosophers and thinkers, they don't understand the activities of great personalities, great Vaishnavas. Sometimes great personalities fighting out of love, and that's called Virya Rasa, one of the secondary rasas in spiritual dimension. So we have 5 main, Mukhya and Gauna, and 7 secondary rasas. And you know, I also found that who spoke first time Srimad Bhagavatam in the history? So normally we know, Shukadeva Goswami, we know this fact that it is confirmed that Bhagavatam is
Shiva.
yeah, but actually yes. The fact is that Lord Shiva first time he spoke Srimad Bhagavatam. He said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Aham vidmi shukoviti vyasoviti navetiva Bhagavat Bhagavan Grahyam na Budhe na Tikaya. He said, Lord Shiva said, I may know, Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Vyasadeva, may know, and Vyasadeva may know, may not, Srimad Bhagavatam. On the whole, Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana, can be learned only through the devotional service, right? And so on. So he said that he first spoke Srimad Bhagavatam.
Wasn't Shukadev his parrot? And
Yeah.
yeah, he was a parrot of Shiva. He was
Yeah.
speaking to Parvati, or his wife.
You know the story?
Yeah,
Huh? Should I tell or
yeah, please, yeah.
is it okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I can make long story short, just because you know the story and the story and the story, it's like going on endlessly. Yeah, there is a story when Lord Shukadeva Goswami, he being a parrot, he came down from spiritual world, and he was flying, and at some point he came to Kailash. Kailash is a abode of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva, he was having private conversation with his wife Parvati Devi. She is a personified material energy, right? Maya Devi, and most beautiful lady in the entire universe. She's considered to be a real Miss Universe. And Lord Shiva, he is a renowned person. He is renunciate. He is living under the tree, and he was sitting under the tree. It's huge banyan tree, and he was telling to Parvati. He explained Krishna's pastimes. That was a Bhagavatam first time told by Parvati. Asked him, please tell me about Krishna. So you chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. What is that? Why are you chanting all the time? So I know you, my worshipable husband and Lord and whoever, but you chanting Ram. What is that? And Lord Shiva, he started to speak Bhagavatam to her. And Shukadev, he being Rasika, a great relisher of transcendental mellows, so he came to this spot just to listen. Also because Lord Shiva, he is considered to be one of the greatest Vaishnavas and speaker, and also Rasika Vaishnavas. So he arrived, and he was sitting on a tree on the top. Lord Shiva sitting beneath the tree, and he was speaking to Parvati these stories of Bhagavatam. But at some point, for women, maybe some of the part of Bhagavatam, they're quite complicated because there's so much philosophy, the explanation of creation, or Sankhya Yoga, or Uddhava Gita, also so much philosophical. And women are considered to be not really inclined to the philosophy, not really philosophical. I mean, men also in Kali Yuga as well. It's typical, you know. And I mean, in our society, we don't divide men or women. So, but in general, in the Vedic culture, also we have to discriminate. Otherwise, I get into trouble. Anyway, so Naham Vipra Nachala Rapatir Napivaisha Nashudra, we know these bodies, we know this and that. And Shukadev, he in the form of a parrot, he's sitting on it. But Parvati, he's kind of dozed off, you know, like she's just like started to sleep, fallen to sleep, like some of the people in the Bhagavatam. Is everyone with me now?
Yes, yes.
Because you know this mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, this mantra for sleeping. And Parvati, she started to fall asleep, but Shukadev, he was completely absorbed and he was overwhelmed with the beautiful narration. And he started to kind of, you know, like in confirmation saying, okay, yeah, nice, it's very beautiful, okay, carry on. And Lord, by the Parvati's voice, you know, he just made it like this. And but Parvati, she was completely sleeping, and Shukadev, he encouraging Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva carried on to speak, and just he explained. At some point, probably Shukadev Goswami, he went into little ecstasy, and he did not answer he did not confirm that he is still listening. And Lord Shiva, he opened eyes because he was, you know, absorbed fully in meditation. Because Bhagavan speaking in Samadhi, that's called Samadhi Bhashya, you know. Bhashya means commentaries, and Samadhi means given in Samadhi, in meditation, in trance. Yeah, and therefore it can be understood only in the Samadhi. Otherwise there is no sequence, you know, sometimes we bewilder because there is no kind of, but there is, but you have to understand logic. It's a little bit higher than our logic, you know, our level of understanding. Therefore, it's been given and also supposed to be received in the Samadhi Bhashya. And Shukadev Goswami, he was in Samadhi trance, and then Lord Shiva opened his eyes and he seen Parvati sleeping. Who was always like, you know, like confirming that he is like listening, and he just raised up his eyes and he saw in the greenery, in the tree, he saw a small parrot sitting there and chirping or whatever doing. So he got cross with that, and he just picked up his trident and just started to chase after. And this parrot, he just ran, flying, and he went to Badarik Ashram in the abode of Lord of Vyasadev. Vyasadev was hidden with his chaste wife and doing some household things, and Shukadev Goswami, he just flew in in the mouth of his wife when she was yawing, and he like entered into the mouth. And Lord Shiva, he just arrived on the spot, you know, like angry with trident and just ready to kill everyone. And yesterday he said, "Okay, Lord, what Mahadev, what is it? What's happening? What is your mood? Why are you just angry?" And he said, "I have to kill this parrot. So he cheated me." And yesterday said, "What was happened?" And he explained, so that I told him Bhagavatam. So, okay, you told Bhagavatam, but he's become immortal. How are you going to kill him? He's immortal, finish. You can't kill him because he heard Bhagavatam, finish. Lord Shiva said, okay. He turned around and gone back to Kailash, and from that time, so this Shukadev Goswami, he was sitting in the womb of wife of Vyasadeva for 16 years, right? And then Bhagavatam started. You know the further story, eh? Yeah. So should we carry on? What's the time now, by the way?
105.
105.
I don't have any energy to say now. If anyone is hungry, please contact. Can we do for another 15 minutes? Everyone okay for 10 minutes?
Pineapple what here more.
Anybody's hungry, too bad.
Hare Krishna Katha.
So should we carry on? Or?
Yes.
I have a lot, but I can tell you something little bit. Maybe you can ask any questions or whatever.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
In the Brahma Samhita, it says Lord Shiva's the halo, right? Coming from Mahavishnu's glare at the Brahmanda, right?
Glance.
Glance, right?
Yeah.
The glance, right?
Not halo, glance.
Okay, but are the jivas coming through that into Brahmanda? That's the jiva. All the jivas are coming through Lord Shiva.
Exactly. Yes.
So what is, if that's, I can't understand like how the jivas are Lord Shiva at the same time. Like how is that?
It's very complicated creation subject, but we can tell on analogy. So Lord Mahavishnu, he is like a power plant, like electricity plant. He generates all power, all everything, and there is a what's called wire, yeah, electric wire, which electricity current going through, and this is this wire is let's say Lord Shiva, and then energy which is going through, it is his internal potency, which is Rama Devi. You know, have you heard of Rama Devi? This is consort of Lord Mahavishnu, and she's internal potency. She's considered to be Svarup Shakti, and also this is like Chit Shakti, this spiritual energy. Then on the end of the wire there is a bulb, right? And this is Durga. So this is a bulb. Electricity coming through and going to this bulb, and then it lights up. Why? Because electricity is going from Vishnu. So Vishnu is a power plant. He generates everything. Electricity going through. Shiva is like a wire, but Durga is like a bulb. And it doesn't work without electricity, right? It's useless unless this current is coming through. Yeah. So this is like kind of a very simple analogy, explain very complex.
But Mahavishnu is looking at so many universes. So is that many Shiva?
You mean, yeah, he casts glance upon material nature, entire, like sum total of material nature. He's a super soul for entire material nature. And he casts upon his glance upon material nature. And this glance is called Shambhu. Shambhu is a Shiva.
Yeah.
So he casts this glance, but this glance consists of three at least. Jiva Shakti, Kala Shakti, Ichha Shakti. Ichha Shakti means his desire. Then Jivas are coming through. They enter into material nature and started to set in motion this material nature. Otherwise it doesn't, it's inert, it's dead matter. So Jivas are starting to churn this material nature and everything works. And also Kala Shakti, which is transformation of the material nature as well. And everything starts going through the circle. You see there, Samsara Chakra circle, everything in the circle. Time going through the circle, right? It's very complex. I mean, philosophy is too much. Maybe not for us, Kali Yuga Krishna's products, right? But we can grasp something. Anyway, I would like to tell you about Chaitanya Charitamrita and Gaura Lila, which is very important. It's our kind of main point, focus. So Lord Shiva mentioned many times in Chaitanya Charitamrita in connection with Lord Chaitanya, with Gauranga. So in Madhya Lila, Lord Chaitanya visited all tirthas which are connected to Lord Shiva, all different Shiva tirthas in South India. All prominent. He visited them, he respected Lord Shiva, he did all worships and everything. And when he came to Linga, what is called, Bhuvaneshwar, on the way to Jagannath Puri, he came to Bhuvaneshwar. Bhuvaneshwar is the city of Lord Shiva. And he, from the distance, he saw this, what is called, trident on the top of the temple, and he became completely ecstatic. He started to dance and he ran after, and then he arrived to Lingaraj. There's a huge temple. Has anybody been there? In Lingaraj? Yeah?
This last year.
Oh, nice. You're very fortunate. For example, myself, I'm not allowed inside. You see, I have different color of the skin. I'm not allowed inside. Like in Jagannath Mandir also.
And she was born outside and she was allowed.
Huh? She
No,
was.
I was born in India.
It's like, no, you were not born in India.
I was born
Okay,
in
okay. She brought up in the UK.
Oh.
She was allowed.
Only for Hindu. How is it called? Videshi, Nideshi, Prabheshi. Something like that, yeah? Does anybody knows Hindi?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah? Yes, so, and Lord Chaitanya, he was completely overwhelmed, and he came to this wonderful Lingaraj temple, which is considered the main temple of Lord Shiva. And he compiled beautiful prayers, which are called Shivashtakam. Have you heard of it? So probably you heard that Lord Chaitanya only compiled only one work, which is Shikshashtakam, which we chant in every morning. But he compiled few, actually. I found there few works. And one of them is the Shivashtakam, actually. Yeah, and they're beautiful prayers which are mentioned in, it's called Chaitanya Charita by Murari Gupta.
Wow.
Chaitanya Charita Mahakavya. And this is biography on the life and teaching of Lord Chaitanya. And there is, by the way, I have a few couplets probably this. If you want, I can. Would you like?
Yeah.
This Shivashtakam prayers by Lord Chaitanya. Afterwards.
Wow.
Namo Namaste Tri. Yes, let me figure out. Namo Namaste Tri Dase Svaraya Budachnataya Mridaya Nityam Gangataranga Tita Baila Chandra Chudaya Gauri Nayanatsavaya. Let me see translation here. Yeah, first couplet. I forever offer my obeisances unto you, the controller of the 30 primal demigods, unto you who is the original father is of created beings and who is a gracious and from whose head which is crested by the sickle moon arises the waters of Ganga. I offer my obeisances unto you who is a festival of the eyes of Gauri and the fair goddess, and so on. It's a beautiful prayers given, written by Lord Chaitanya himself, so they have to learn it. Yeah?
Yeah.
So this is our kind of trend, our teaching. Lord Chaitanya, he was very pleased and he was very happy to see Lord Shiva. And actually, when he, in his Madhya Lila, he departed to his trip to South India, he met Lord Shiva himself personally in South India with Parvati. He met them somewhere in one of the, I think it's Shaila, it's called Shaila. It's a place in South India, and where Lord Chaitanya met Lord Shiva, and he came to him in the guise of Brahmana with the Parvati Devi, and Lord Chaitanya, he associated with him, and they were very pleased by seeing each other. They were very ecstatic. Yes. Shivashtakam prayers are very beautiful. And also in Gaura Lila there is beautiful pastimes which also explained in our scriptures. Probably Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Navadvipa Bhava Taranga, he explained that Lord Shiva met Gauranga Mahaprabhu in Mayapur. That place is called Shiva Doba, right? When Lord Chaitanya, he was riding like ferocious lion, and Lord Shiva, he was seeing him, and that spot is called Shiva Doba. Shiva received his darshan there. And Shiva always resides in Navadvipa with his consort, with his wife. Her name there, Praudamai. Praudamai, she is a Mai, or what is called illusory covering of this holy dam, which is now Dvipa Dam. And Lord Shiva always there. And even in ISKCON we have this temple in Simanta Dvip, it's called Rajpur, you know, like Rajpur Jagannath Mandir. Yeah, probably you've been there. And we have the Simantina Devi, Simanta Devi, and she's called Simantina, I think. And there is around the corner a little bit, like under the knees of huge banyan tree, there is a Shiva lingam. So we haven't worshipping in ISKCON Lord Shiva. So we have this. Anyway, so Lord Shiva with Praudamaya, they're serving as a protector, they're protecting Holy Dam, because Lord Shiva, that's his eternal kind of role or position. He always protecting Holy Dam. He's called Dikpala or Dhamapalana, protector of the Holy Dam. And by the way, what is his role or place in Gauravila? Because in Gauravila, everyone there. Narada Muni is there, Mahavishnu is there, all eternal associates of Krishna are there also. So Lord Shiva is there as well. Who is he there in Gauravila? Advaitacharya, right?
Yeah.
So Advaitacharya, he is combined incarnation of Mahavishnu and Sadashiva. So we have our Lord Shiva in Gauravila, you see, we can worship Lord Shiva, no problem.
Isn't Lord Shiva also Gopeshvara?
Yes, that's another image of Lord Shiva, and by this Lord Shiva, all Gaudiya Vaishnavas are worshipping actually. Yeah, and this is a very important personality actually in Vraj. He's one of the 5 main, great personalities, those who can bestow Vraj Prema upon you without even spiritual master you can get Vraj Prema by worshipping Gopeshwar Mahadev, right? There is a beautiful prayer given by our acharyas. It is saying, Shiman Gopeshwara Vande Shankara Karanamai Sarva Klesha Maidvach Vrindaranyam Ratim Pradam. So Lord Shiva, who can bestow upon you Vrindavan Rati or Nirupadhi Prema. Also Sanatana Goswami, he is one of our main spiritual teachers, and he represents Sambandha Gyan. Sambandha Gyan means constitutional, foundational knowledge about all different tattvas. He was very close to Lord Shiva actually. He was worshipping him every day, and he was going from Dvadashaditya Tila, where is modern Maham temple. He was going to Gopeshwar Mahadev, which is next to Vamshavat. You know, in Vrindavan, if you go to, you can see there is Vamshavat, and a little bit away around the corner there is Gopeshwar Mahadev temple. And mostly all the Hindus, they're going to this Gopeshwar Mahadev, but they're missing to go to turn and go to the Vamshavat, where the Rasa Lila happened. And Lord Shiva, he stays in the border of that. He just watching those who, unauthorized persons, those who want to enter, but they are not allowed. So he stopped them by his trident and chased them away. And this is a place, yeah. And therefore, our acharyas also, especially Sanatana Goswami, he's a Sambandha acharya, but he was worshipping every day. At some point, he became very old, and Lord Shiva, he expanded himself in another form, which is called Bankhandi Mahadev. And this form is at the beginning of Loy Bazar. Everyone knows Loy Bazar, right? So Loy Bazar, when devotees are going from ISKCON to Loy Bazar, and they're entering into Loy Bazar, there is immediately Bankhandi Mahadev. Normally devotees, they're praying to Bankhandi Mahadev for good shopping, for good prices, like that. But this is expansion of that Gopeshwar, and especially meant for Sanatana Goswami to come and worship him, because he became old and he was, he was not able to travel long. They were very close. And sometimes also Sananda Goswami who was going to Manasiganga. It's at the foot of Govardhan Hill, and there Chakaleshwar Mahadev also. And he spent some time there, and Chakaleshwar Mahadev, he came once, he appeared before him, and he said, because Sananda Goswami, he wanted to just wind up everything and just go from there, because so many mosquitoes, in Braj, so many mosquitoes, you can't survive without repel, how you call it, repellent, what is it called?
Mosquito repellent, yeah.
Huh?
Mosquito repellent.
Repellent, yeah, repellent. And it wasn't the time, 500 years ago, repellent, so he was struggling. And some Brahmana came to him, approached and said, okay, Baba, you stay with us. You carry on, you stay. He said, no, I can't. I just so much struggle with these mosquitoes, I can't survive. He said, I can arrange for you. Today is no mosquitoes, you just stay, you will see. He said, okay, one more night, I will survive. And there was no mosquitoes at that time. Finished, all mosquitoes are gone. And it is said, this legend is spoken by the local Brajabasis. They're saying that Lord Shiva appeared in the form of Brahmana, and he just called up some demigod of mosquitoes and he ordered him, no more mosquitoes on Manasiganga. Finished. And from the time, there are no mosquitoes. You can check, you can do experiment. There is no mosquitoes in that place. It's called Chakaleshwar Mahadev. This is place, it's like some ghat for bathing ghat for on next to Manasiganga. So he wrote beautiful poetry as well. He said,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can we stop for one question or two? Is that okay?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
We're getting late. Anyone has any compelling question?
Yeah, please ask any questions.
If not, we can discuss during Prasadam, Prabhu. We have ample
Really?
time. Yeah, I mean, we have an
Okay,
hour.
let me conclude quickly, yeah? Just to finish everything in a good way. So, we started our discussion with, is it worth worshiping Lord Shiva? Should we worship or not? What is his position? And what is our tradition? And what is Hindu tradition? Something different? And how to reconcile all these kinds of things? And by our discussion and also so many points you can find yourself. So yes, he is the greatest object of our worship, and we have to worship him. And all Gaudiyas, all Vaishnavas, they worship him, and that's considered to be one of our important practices to worship. So he who can bestow bhakti upon you, he called Shiva Bhakti Pradatah. He given bhakti, so he given devotional service to anyone who. And we know that he is Ashutosh. He is very easy to please and also easy to get angry. So therefore, you can please him very quickly, and he can give you bhakti. Shiva Bhakti Pradatah, right? He gives bhakti very easily. Also, Shiva, he protects holy dham from the sinful people, like we said. He protects the pure part of bhakti from the hypocrites or unauthorized persons or impersonalists, whoever. And he stands like on the border of Krishna Lila, and he guards over this wonderful Radha Krishna Lila which happened on Vamshivat, which is Rasa Lila, which is considered the main Lila. So he protecting the most intimate pastimes of Bhagavan. And yeah, we worship Lord Shiva as a supreme, as the greatest among the all Vaishnavas. Vaishnavanam Yashashambhum. And also Lord Shiva can give you Nirupadhi Prema, which is pure unalloyed Prema. And also he can give you Vrindavan Rati, or attachment to Braj, to Vrindavan. Shiva Bhakti Pradatah. So that's what is wanted, like Prabhupada said. And also Brijabasis, they worship in Lord Shiva. Why? Just to increase the attachment to Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for tolerating me today. Jai. Shri Shivaratri Mahotsav ki jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra ki jai. Shri Shri Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hare Gaur. Hare Krishna. So mantra for awakening. Mahaprasada Guru.
Not it.